And if your leaders are not willing to admit to you that they're fallible, that they make mistakes, that they hurt like you, that they bleed like you, and that they suffer disappointments and letdowns, beware. Beware of the leader in this country who you have handed leadership to, who has never made a mistake, who has never done anything wrong, who when something goes wrong, it's always someone else's fault, and who has never lost. I've lost. You people did that to me in 2016. All of you. And I have two of my children here tonight who remind me of that all the time. They said, "You're going back to New Hampshire?" They beat you. But beware of the leader who won't admit any of those shortcomings. Because you know what the problem is with a leader like that? A leader like that thinks America's greatness resides in the mirror he's looking at. I believe that America's greatness resides out there, among all of you. And that any of us who get the opportunity to serve are merely temporary stewards of that greatness, who just want an opportunity to make it a little bit greater. And if you can't admit to the people you want to lead that you're not going to be perfect, and if you decide that the people who you ask to come with you to lead will always be the ones who are blamed when anything goes wrong, that they'll be called names, that they'll be dismissed, and that after they leave your service, they're nothing but idiots, beware. Because that leader not only will not serve you, they will not be able to find anybody who will serve them. And a lonely, self-consumed, self-serving mirror hog is not a leader. And so now we have pretenders all around us who want to tell you, pick me, because I'm kind of like what you picked before, but not quite as crazy. But I don't want to say his name, because for these other pretenders, he is, for those of you who read the Harry Potter books, like Voldemort. He is he who shall not be named. Well, let me be clear, in case I have not been already. The person I am talking about, who is obsessed with the mirror, who never admits a mistake, who never admits a fault, and who always finds someone else and something else to blame for whatever goes wrong, but finds every reason to take credit for anything that goes right, is Donald Trump. And if we don't have that conversation with you, we don't deserve to ask for your vote. We don't deserve the mantle of leadership. We don't deserve to have you think of us as people worthy of leadership. I think if you look at our politics now, back in 2015 and 16, I played a conventional game. I thought you just do politics the way you've always done it. Just talk about yourself. Don't really worry about anybody else. Keep your eye on the ball and keep going. That's not the politics today. This time you have to differentiate yourself from the person in the lead. And I said this at a town hall I came up here a couple months ago, right here. It was a mistake in 2016 not to confront Donald Trump early, because I knew that so much of what he said was complete baloney. Like, I knew it. I'm going to build the greatest, most wonderful wall. across the entire Mexico border, and Mexico is going to pay for it. Well, like, I knew, as someone who had governed, that that was complete bull. But I was like, people aren't going to believe that. They're not going to believe that. Mistake. But guess what? You've got no excuse now. He was there for 4 years, 2 of them with a Republican Congress. He got a quarter of the wall built, and Mexico hasn't given us our first peso. We paid for all of it, and only for a quarter of it. And when you watch illegal immigration pouring over our southern border, don't wonder whose fault it is. It's his. It's his fault, because he never changed one immigration law in the 2 years that he had Republican control of the Congress. Not one immigration law did he change. He didn't build the wall like he told us to, and Mexico is laughing at us at the idea that they were going to pay for a wall on their border. And if you listen to him, he'll tell you, I totally succeeded, and now Biden is the reason that, this is not happening. Well, Biden's made it worse. But if the wall was there, like he promised us, Biden wouldn't be able to be doing this. He wouldn't be in office if it wasn't for Trump. Joe Biden never beat anybody outside the state of Delaware in 45 years, except for one guy, Donald J. Trump. Joe Biden ran for president 3 times and never won anything outside the state of Delaware, not once, until he ran up against the guy who the American people knew in their heart was full of it. And they had had enough. They had watched the chaos. They had watched the disorder. They had watched the disrespect. They had watched the narcissism and the lying for 4 years. And they went, you know what? The people in the middle said, enough. We took a chance on them 4 years ago. We're not taking a chance again. And so I made a fundamental judgment error. I thought that something that was so apparent to me would be apparent to everybody. Let me guarantee you something. I ain't making that mistake this time.
Is Trump the guy in the way?
Well, of course he is. I love this. I've seen some of the press coverage of me getting ready to run. And there's this thing like, Christie doesn't really care about winning. All he cares about doing is destroying Trump. Now, let me ask you something. How are those two things mutually exclusive? I mean, seriously. Aren't they inextricably connected? The guy's ahead in the polls. Who am I supposed to be worried about, Nikki Haley? I mean, seriously, if I came in here tonight and spent 15 minutes railing on Nikki Haley, and I've known Nikki for 13 years now, we're friends. So that's why I'm bringing her up, because I know that she will take this in the spirit it's given. If I came out here and railed for 15, 20 minutes about Nikki Haley, you all would leave going, is he nuts? Hasn't he, read the papers? Doesn't he know Trump's leading? The reason I'm going after Trump is twofold. One, he deserves it. And 2, it's the way to win. So these two are not divided. And this is what I don't understand about the coverage, right? Well, I hope he's not just going out there to kill. No, I am going out there. Let me be very clear. I am going out there to take out Donald Trump, but here's why. I want to win. And I don't want him to win. And guess what? If you put DeSantis and Haley and Pence and Tim Scott, that's it, I'll stop there. On truth serum, they tell you the same thing. Here's the difference. Here's the difference. You don't have to put me on truth serum to tell you. Okay? So that's why. There are not multiple lanes to the Republican nomination. That is a political science professor's dream. There is one lane to the Republican nomination, and he's in front of it. And if you want to win, you better go right through him. Because let me guarantee you something from knowing him for 22 years, everybody. He's going to try to go through me. And he's going to try to go through Ron and Nikki and Tim and anybody else who stands in his way. And you've watched this show. I mean, to me, this show looks like it's on reruns now. This is like watching Seinfeld. Right? We've all seen it. And the jokes aren't quite as funny as they were the first time we heard them. Right? So the Mexican wall I guarantee you, if you haven't been to one of his events yet and you go, you will walk out of there thinking, Jesus, the whole wall was built. How did I miss that? How did I miss it? The whole wall was built. And you know what? Shit, Mexico paid for it. Nobody told me. I read the papers every day. I missed it. I guarantee you'll come out thinking that, right? 8 years ago, it was amusing. 8 years ago, you were entertained. I forgive you. But it ain't funny anymore. It's not amusing anymore. It's not entertaining anymore. It is the last throes of a bitter, angry man who wants power back for himself, not for you. If you think for 1 minute, when he says, I am your retribution, if you think he wants to be your retribution, forget it. He's going to be retribution for one person and one person only, himself. And all the things he's angry about, and all the ways he thinks he got snookered. Well, if that's the kind of president you want, let me tell you, no one can compete with him. He's the runaway winner. But if you want somebody who's actually going to fight for you, I would suggest to you that's not the right choice. So I learned a few things.